We're good.
Welcome to the Castaic Union School District Board meeting on April 15th, 2021. We have nothing to report from our closed session. No action was taken. We will now have the Pledge of Allegiance, and Mr. Malcolm will lead us in the pledge, and I have a flag. So
please place your right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Malcolm.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can I entertain a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll move.
Okay, motion by Ms. Pearson.
Second.
Second by Mr. Richard. And we'll now vote. Ms. Maxon?
Aye. Sorry.
It's okay. Mr. Malcolm?
Aye.
Mr. Richards?
Aye.
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
And an aye by Maureen Burke. Motion is approved. And we will now move on to our special items and recognitions and our spotlight on success. Did any board member want to start?
I will.
Okay, Ms. Maxon.
So it's really been fun to go to school sites and see all the cohorts that were there, and then now having half the class come on certain days and the teachers in there rooming and zooming with their kids. It's been fun to kind of get on and say hi to them when we were in the classes. It was really fun walking through the middle school, and I asked a few, some were too embarrassed to say, I know they're so happy to be back, but a few, I think Mrs. Burke was with me too. This one girl was like, I am so happy. This is the best. It was in Miss Maxie's math class. So I'm just just walking around seeing our classified staff as well, all that they have just pitched in and are doing, and things that aren't even in there, what they normally do. I think I've said that time and time again, but I love that I consistently see that. And I'm so excited for next Monday. I'm just so proud of, as usual, I'm just so proud of the staff in Castaic. And I know everybody in all four schools, the preschools, the district office have just really been working hard to get back as many kids as possible. And our CVC group, oh my goodness, the things they're doing is just amazing. So thank you so much. And I know I've gone on, but I just wanted to do a big shout out for everybody. Happy trails.
Thank you, Ms. Maxon. I think that we all agree. We all ditto that. I think it's a huge success that we are able to start full-time classes on Monday. So I just want to thank everyone for making that possible. So were there any other comments by board members? Oh, okay, so we will now move on to our school awards. And tonight we are lucky to have Live Oak School here, and I'll let Mrs. Beach take it from there.
Thank you. I'm so excited that it's Live Oaks night. And our first honoree of the night is Sadie Madrano. She is our student of the month. And I'm going to let Mr. Hooker and Ms. Fredrickson talk about her in just a minute. But I have to say, Sadie always has the cutest headbands on and a smile on her face. And she's always so happy to be at school or be on Zoom. I don't think I've ever seen her without a smile on her face. And I will miss her terribly when she moves on to the middle school next year. But I know your teachers have some amazing things to share about you. So Mrs. Fredrickson, did you want to start?
Yeah, I'll start. And Sadie, I wrote an acrostic poem for your name, and it's going to talk about your artistic talent. And I don't know how well this is going to show up on my phone on the screen right now, but this is an example of Sadie's artistic talent. It's obviously back at Halloween time. And I tell her many times, if I could draw like she does, I would frame my work. But sadly, I only draw stick people. So my work isn't framed, but she's an amazing artist. So Sadie, here we go. For the S in your name, You are you have such amazing artistic talent, and your work should definitely be framed. For the A, asks questions for clarification and always working hard to complete your work accurately. I'd also like to think, Sadie, that you work hard whether people are watching you or not watching you. You just strike me as that type of person. For the Y, you participate both on Zoom and in class, and Mrs. Beach already said it, always with a positive attitude. For the D in your name, dedicated to always putting forth your very best effort, again, whether you're on Zoom, in class, or even just working on your own. For the I always feel great when you walk in my classroom with an enthusiastic good morning, even behind your mask. It's it's a challenge, but you're very enthusiastic even with the mask on. And finally, for the E in your name, effort, energy, and enthusiasm make it such a great joy having you in my 6th grade class this year. And you're very deserving of this honor, Sadie. So congratulations. And I really look forward to starting next week, seeing you and the others full time, and just to talk about now that teachers have been back with the cohorts for a while, and it had been a very long time that we've been in virtual land only. And this is year 37 for me. I would just like to say the first day I stepped into my classroom with a cohort of kids coming back, it reminded me why I went into this profession and having that face-to-face contact. But congratulations, Sadie. True joy having you.
I agree totally with everything that Ms. Frederickson said. And I would just like to add, in math, I have Sadie for math and science. She's consistently at the top of both of those classes with me. And I can see when she comes into class that she's smiling even behind her face mask. You can see it in her eyes that she really enjoys being there and seeing what we're doing in person, and having the opportunity, although she doesn't need to very often in math or science, ask questions. And usually when I'm done and I go, are there any questions? I just get a little nod and she's good to go. So she is a wonderful student. She completes everything on time and usually early, because I give a couple of days for assignments and usually hers are in right away. Sometimes when she gets home from school, I mean, they're done. And so you're just doing a wonderful job this year. And I'm looking forward to having you in my class full time when we come back on Monday. So congratulations and good job.
And Sadie, I'm just going to say one more thing real quickly that just came to my mind right now, because, Mr. Hooker's talking about, we know you're an incredible student and you get incredible grades. But what I also can truly appreciate, and I even appreciate it more now in the classroom, is the true time and effort. You don't try to rush things to say, hey, I mean, I know you sometimes do turn it in early, but I really, really just am so impressed by the methodical effort and time you take to make sure to your very best that you get it right. So I just wanted to add that.
Congratulations, Sadie. Who do you have with you tonight?
My dad and my mom.
Congratulations. Well, Mrs. Ortega is holding up some of the certificates you'll be getting. They'll send them to the school and we'll make sure that you get them.
Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much. She enjoys.
Congratulations.
She enjoys and loves her 6th grade class and Live Oak, of course. So thank you all so much. You guys are fabulous.
You're welcome. Our next honoree tonight is our Volunteer of the Month, Amanda Guerrero. And Amanda joined our PTA e-board this year as our secretary, and she jumped right into helping with all the virtual and drive-through events that our PTA has been doing this year. She's always there to help out and lend a hand wherever she can. And we were super lucky a few months ago to be able to hire her as a staff member as well. She's one of our yard supervisors now, and she's always ready to pitch in and help our teachers and help our office staff and help our PTA whenever and wherever she can. So we're so happy to officially have her as part of our team now too. So congratulations, Amanda.
Thank you.
And Charmin is holding up your certificate, and we will make sure that you get that soon.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Our next honoree is our Classified Employee of the Month, Jennifer Richards. And I don't even know where to start with her. She has been a lifesaver this year. Her official job title is full day yard supervisor, but through distance learning, we've repurposed a lot of our staff, and she's one that we repurposed because we didn't have children to supervise to begin with. And she has helped literally with everything. We've been really shorthanded in our office lately. So she answers phones, she helps parents with registration, she helps distribute materials. She's taken the lead in helping organize all our recess and lunch schedules that we've made numerous times so far this year, and making sure we have coverage in all the areas we need covered. She helps plan activities that students can do while keeping their social distance at recess. She helps our teachers making copies, collating packets, passing out materials, making sure everyone has the appropriate number of Chromebooks. One teacher wrote that she is the lady with 1,000 hats, and I absolutely cannot agree more. No job is too big or too small for her to help with. And she does an amazing job at anything you give her, and she does it with a smile on her face and kindness in her heart. So I don't know what I'd do without you, Jen. Who do you have with you tonight?
I have my husband, Jim, who's right here. My son, Ethan, and my daughter, Miranda.
Some past Live Oak leopards. But thank you so much, Jim, for everything you do. I appreciate you more than you'll ever know. And our last honoree tonight is our Certificated Employee of the Month, Cindy Waldeck. And Cindy is new to our staff this year. She came to Live Oak this past August, and she hit the ground running last June. She is an invaluable member of our Learning Center team, and she is a constant advocate for the students she works with. She truly cares about their education and well-being, and she's always looking for the best way that she can support them in what they need. She was one of our first staff members to bring back small students in a small cohort last October. She's well-liked and respected by all our staff, and she's adapted so well to being a leopard, and we are very, very lucky to have her. So congratulations, Cindy.
Thank you very much. I just have to say I'm super blessed to be at Live Oak, and I couldn't do it without the support of all my gen ed teachers and my amazing instructional aides that are extensions of me and help me get through everything. So I'm super thankful.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Yeah, we're so lucky. It's coming to these meetings every month, and I love that we honor the members of our community, our school community. And it's just, I love hearing what everyone does. And we just all appreciate all the time and effort and that people that are volunteers and our staff put into, and the students to make our school so successful. So thank you for joining us this evening. Before Mrs. Beach does the principal's report, we're just going to invite all of our guests that are here to go ahead and now you can log off and then just join us on YouTube if you'd like to continue watching. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming.
Congratulations, everyone.
Yeah, congratulations. Thank you.
Congratulations.
All right, Mrs. Beach.
All right, I am going to share my screen. So we have been very busy at Live Oak this year. I feel like every day is a new adventure. And I'm so excited about our adventure on Monday and returning to our full day schedule. Here's a little update of what's been happening at Live Oak. We have all grades back in the hybrid model. And as I said on Monday, we're going to have our kids back on our regular pre-COVID full day schedule. Our Learning Center has been working on new schedules and we'll be able to see more groups of students in person. Up until now, our intervention teacher, Tara Gordon, has been seeing students only virtually. That's the only way she could see and reach as many students as we needed to. But now that we can come back and she can see 3 stable groups of students a day, we were able to create a schedule where she'll still be able to service all the students she was, but in person. So we're definitely looking forward to that. And our students that are remaining virtual, she has found a way to meet their needs as well. All of the teachers at Live Oak that have students that are remaining virtual have agreed to room and Zoom. So we'll be having all our staff rooming and Zooming. The current enrollment, when I did this, it changes every day. We keep having new enrollments, which is super exciting. And we keep having the number of students that wanted to stay virtual change, and we have more students wanting to come on campus. Just before this meeting, I got an email that a couple more would be coming back. So these numbers are inaccurate as of right now, but we had, when I did this, we had 467 students enrolled at Live Oak. 64 of those were enrolled in the CVC, and 403 are our hybrid students. 344 will be attending in person as of Monday. And like I said, that's already 346. 56 will remain virtual with their current teacher. And like I said, that number changes every day. When we started hybrid, we had 81 that were remaining virtual with their teacher, but now with the shift to come back to full day, we're down to 56. This year, we've tried through everything to keep school as normal for our kiddos as possible. We've had monthly virtual spirit rallies and spirit days. We've had multiple drive-through events for our students. We're still keeping up with our tradition of doing positive referrals. We felt it was really important when we did our schedules for hybrid that we had recess time and time for students to socially interact with each other. Our teachers are really doing a great job of focusing on the essential standards in reading and math. We've been able to continue to provide WIN and intervention since the beginning of the year. And we just right before spring break did a virtual kindergarten tour. We're keeping everyone safe. Everyone wears masks. We're social distancing whenever possible. Drinking fountains are closed. The Castaic Education Foundation was so gracious to provide water bottles for all our students. So students bring their own water bottle from home, or they have water bottles provided by the Castaic Education Foundation. Our students are eating their snacks outside, and when we transition on Monday to serving lunch, students will be limited to 2 students per table. They have to all face the same direction and be 6 feet apart during eating time. Stable groups are kept together all day, including recess. And like I had mentioned earlier, Jen Richard did an amazing job in helping create a schedule where we have rotating stations where children play in different stations each day. So they get an opportunity to do all different kinds of activities, but still keep their distance from other groups. We keep our doors open as much as possible to let in fresh air, and we're always following the current protocols. Here are some pictures of what's been happening. There's some pictures of how our classrooms look with our students back in them. Some students swinging at at recess time, and our teachers are starting to bring back some art and some science into the classroom, and they're very excited to have the full day where we can definitely make room for those things that make school fun and engaging for our students in person. At the top left-hand corner, we have 2 Girl Scouts at our school that did a project and created a kindness rock garden at our school. So that's a little snapshot of their garden. And there's some pictures of some of our drive-through events this year that we've had since the last time we met, and some of our teachers during Read Across America Week. We did our principal surprise patrol for the 2nd trimester before spring break, and we're able to bring dinner and honor 2 of our students. And I just wanted to share a little data with you. Here's some iReady reading diagnostic data. On the left-hand side is the first diagnostic we took in late August, and the second diagnostic is on the right-hand side, and we took that right before we transitioned to winter break. And as you can see, the green is growing. Those are our students that are on grade level. And our red is shrinking, which are the students that are 2 or more grade levels behind. So it's hard with this data because both these diagnostics were taken at home. And so we don't truly know how accurate they are. But when we look at them compared to diagnostic data in previous years, they're pretty close. And we're definitely looking forward to giving that last diagnostic in person to get a really clear picture of where our students are. And then this is the same data for math. So again, you can definitely see the green level growing and our red level shrinking. This is a little snapshot of personalized instruction in iReady. This was for the month of March, and it shows that we have 75% of our students that are doing 30 or more minutes of iReady in reading. And of those students, we have year to date, 77% of them are passing their lessons with a 70% or above. So they're definitely still using iReady and getting that individualized pathway and lessons at their level. And here's the same data for math. We have a much higher percentage of pass rate in the mathematic lessons, 92% year to date. And then what's happening this spring? Well, progress reports go home on Monday. We're already halfway through our 3rd trimester, which seems unreal. It's gone by. Sometimes it seems like it goes by so slowly, but then we're already almost at the end of the school year. Spring pictures are going to be next Tuesday. It's a little late for our yearbook, but we're still providing parents the opportunity to get school pictures of their students this year. We have a tie-dye Spirit Day coming up district-wide on the 30th, and a Star Wars Day on May 4th. Staff Appreciation is the first full week in May, and we have a Disney Day at the end of May, and of course the last day of school is June 4th. Promotion, we're starting to talk about, the PALs are starting to talk about promotion, and we've gotten the state guidelines. And we're waiting for the county guidelines to see. We want to do some kind of celebration for our 6th graders promoting to middle school, and we're just not sure what that looks like quite yet. We have an amazing PTA at Live Oak, and this year they have been so helpful in providing support to make our year a little more normal. They just purchased kindness shirts for all our staff and students, and they will be coming in a few weeks. And so everyone on campus will have a shirt to wear on Spirit Days and wear on Kindness Days. They also help purchase 6th grade shirts. Every year we provide our 6th graders with a shirt to remember Live Oak and to wear on Spirit Days at the end of the year. They've been supporting all our drive-through events. They're always there helping out and passing out treats. They organized a spring scavenger hunt right before spring break, which was a great event, but we didn't have the turnout quite that we had hoped for. And we just think maybe it was the timing of when we had it. They've provided treats and encouragement for our teachers as they've come back. They're completing a school yearbook, so we will have a yearbook this year. And they support music in our online programs and our Little Red Schoolhouse. And I love this quote that you can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending. And I think that's really where we are right now with, we can't change how we started this year, but we can definitely give it our all and change how we end the year. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Mrs. Beach, for the presentation.
You're welcome.
How did the virtual kindergarten event go?
We had some parents, we didn't have quite as many as we had hoped. We had advertised it on our webpage and on our Facebook page and let new parents that were registering know, but we just didn't quite have the turnout we had hoped for. We hope that we can do it again.
Is it possible to do an in-person one?
Well, the way the protocols are right now, we can't have people come on site in groups. We could give individual tours after everyone's left. So if parents request that, we absolutely provide that.
Okay. All right, thank you. Are there any questions from other board members? All right. Thank you, Mrs. Beach, for your presentation.
You're welcome.
Really, it's always fun to see the pictures and see what's happening. And so thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
And I like the quote. that was nice to read that because I think it's spot on. So we will now hear our comments from our CTA representative, Ms. Lintich. Are you? Oh wait, no, I'm sorry, I got it wrong. I thought we normally do it the other order, so I wasn't thinking correctly. Okay, Ms. O'Mara.
Yeah, it's okay.
Sorry.
Hear my cat meowing. It's very needy right now. I wanted to thank Sadie and Amanda and Jen and Cindy. They deserve this award, but I did have to mention to Cindy that I'm going to talk to her tomorrow. She did not mention it was a pleasure to be working with me, so I'll have to mention that to her. Tonight, I want to talk about the middle school. When this all started, you know, we were all focusing on the elementary returning to school, and we never anticipated that middle school would even be returning. So they returned a week before spring break. And then that same week, they found out that they were going to be going back full time. The teachers were always there. You know, since they started school, they were Zooming out of their classrooms, but they really put a lot of hard work to getting their classrooms ready in that short amount of time. And I wanted to thank them for their hard work. And I want to read some comments that a couple of the teachers wrote, because I asked Janetta just to get some comments or something of how the teachers are feeling. And one is, our staff has grown much closer because of the challenges of this year. I think we have learned that the essentials of education are since we had to cut away so many things. We've grown as educators. We started this year with having our nutrition and lunches together and discussing our concerns, creating solutions, and putting the solutions into action. We worked as a team and supported each other. And then another one said, I think a lot of teachers spent time encouraging their students to stay strong and persevere. We have a supportive pack that provided lunch and other treats throughout the year. And I had to put this quote in for Bob. We benefit from having a principal who looks out for us and listens to us. So I want to thank them because, like I said, all throughout the year, we were talking about middle school elementary school. So I want to thank them for all their hard work. And one last thing, I want to do a shout out. The union has these WHO awards every year. And last year we didn't do one. but we're going to do 2 this year virtual. So for last year was Beth Smith. She is our site rep for Live Oak. So she's getting the WHO award. And this year is Carrie Summers. She's a member of our negotiating team. So she's getting the WHO award. And normally we have this wonderful dinner there, but because it's virtual, I will be delivering their food of choice for them that day. So congratulations. And I just, again, want to thank all the teachers, and the staff, we really rock at Castaic. That's it.
Thank you for your comments. And it is nice to highlight the middle school and all that happened there. So I appreciate hearing that. And obviously all the work that all the staff has put in at all schools. So we will now hear comments from CSCA, Ms. Buntich.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I just wanted to say, first of all, thank you, Janine, for giving us a little shout out earlier tonight for the classified staff. We are, all of us, 100% back now on site, and it was exciting to see those kids in the hybrid, but we are so excited to see them Monday starting full days and full weeks. So we couldn't be happier. Our proposal is on the agenda to be Sunshine tonight, and we look forward to opening our negotiations and working again with the district. We have a great relationship, I feel, with the district, and so we're looking forward to those meetings coming up. And finally, as you guys have on the agenda here tonight, Classified Week is going to be May 16th through the 22nd. However, we voted as the e-board just to kind of honor our employees our next week instead. First week coming back, for a full week. We just wanted to do something special for them. And so the chapter is going to be buying all of our classified members Drizzy Mike's lunch on Friday, April 23rd. So we're looking forward to that and to just having, seeing the kids again and getting back to everything normal. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Jody, for your comments. And yes, we appreciate all your staff too. They've really been troopers through this whole thing. So thanks for all the hard work. We will now move on to the hearing session portion of the meeting. But Ms. Ortega, were there any advanced requests to address the board or comments or questions on agenda items that were submitted?
No, ma'am, we had none received.
Okay, so since we did not receive any advance requests or comments or questions, we will now move on to the presentations and reports section of our meeting. And we will now hear from Mr. Doyle, the superintendent.
Well, good evening, everybody. I'm so excited for the return to full day in person next week. Reflecting back, I think last week during spring break was the actual first time I've been able to stop and catch my breath without some form of bombshell being dropped, some significant change, because those things happen throughout the summer. They happened during winter break. They happened during last year's spring break. So that was the first time where we had our end goal, our marching orders to move forward. It was a bumpy ride, I get that. But I'm so excited that our end result is going to come to fruition on Monday. I too, like many have said, am so appreciative of our staff. The countless hours and time that our teachers have put in, I know firsthand. I'm married to a first grade teacher and my son's student teaching fourth grade. The frustrations that go with distance learning and transitioning to also trying to room and Zoom at the same time, all the while trying to meet all of your kids' needs. That service is invaluable, and we so appreciate all that our teachers have done. Our classified staff, as I reflected last year when we were able to provide lunch support to the Val Verde community, I got to know on a personal level many of our classified staff that I never would have got to know on a deeper level. Personal family conversations with our custodians that have worked out there, our instructional aides, our noon duties, everybody who pitched in, our bus drivers. So that was just something that was a positive that came out of all of this. And lastly, all of our district peeps, our admin team, we met every Friday, rain or shine, winter, summer, spring break or not, just to keep each other in the loop. Your perseverance, your leadership, the fact that you're always just a can-do team. I so appreciate that. That's how we were able to move forward. And lastly, I want to thank our students and our parents for your patience. I know we haven't moved at the pace that some of you have wanted, but remember our goal from the very beginning was to make sure that we ensured everyone's safety, students and staff. And I'm confident and proud that we did that. But now it's time to move forward. We had a conference call with Dr. Farrar this morning. She basically said that we're pretty much plateaued in LA County at this point. They don't envision us moving onto the yellow tier anytime soon because the case rates are still happening until more and more people are vaccinated. That we should fully anticipate our return in the fall for the next school year to still have the health protocols in place, meaning the social distancing, meaning the masks and all of those hand washing procedures, that those will probably be in place. There will be a point in time, they're talking about potentially next fall, where 12 to 16-year-olds, once approved by the FDA, may have the opportunity to get a vaccine. But that younger children, that probably won't happen until sometime into 2022. So until that happens, I don't foresee all of the protocols we have in place happening. But the good news is we have figured out how to bring our full schools back. And so we're going to test that. We've been testing it all along through our small groups that we brought back in the fall, leading to our hybrid model we're all very confident in making it happen next week. And it will be a safe return. So we're very proud of that. One thing I'm also excited to share is we've had some turnover in our industrial park where the district office is located. And Charmin's done a great job making some connections and contacts. On Monday, Bob and Jackie and I were able to present to Logix. Logix, if you don't know, is a credit union. Their home base is in Burbank. They are moving just up the street from our district office for their home base, and asked if we would share about our schools with their employees and about RISE, our after school program. So as a possible way to start to generate additional students as families or parents work in our community, they can also bring their kids to our community. So that's a really neat opportunity that we're going to continue to pursue. That's always encouraging since we've been on a decline for so long. I wanted to share, it was reiterated this morning with Dr. Gilchek and Dr. Farrar. They are still strongly encouraging board meetings to be held virtually like we're doing. The issue isn't about conducting the board meeting. They're confident that we're very aware of the 6 feet social distancing and all of those protocols. The challenge it becomes, right now, it falls under the office protocols, and you are limited to no more than 15 people in person, which doesn't allow for public participation in the meeting. So the best way to do that is currently we have a process where they can, members of the public can submit public comment and it can be read during the board meeting, and everybody can at home sit and watch the meeting. If we were to do it in person, one of the challenges that they pose to us is how to either have someone who wants to enter the board meeting show proof within 72 hours that they've tested negative, or to show vaccine proof. Now that seems like another significant challenge for us to have to deal with that. So for the time being, we're going to remain virtually until some of those restrictions loosen. And lastly, I want to share that the end of, actually 2 weeks from tomorrow on April 30th is our teacher tribute for this school year, where we get to honor our teachers of the year. We're going to be doing an in-person where they will pick up a lunch and get to walk the red carpet, a dinner and walk the red carpet and have some paparazzi. And then the teacher tribute will be virtually again, so everybody can participate and watch from home. So maybe, hopefully, this will be our last virtual one, because it's really nice to all get together and be in person. But I think it's also nice to have friends and family join in from all over the country. So we're really excited to honor our teachers, and I'm excited for next week. And I just want to thank everybody. I want to thank you, board, for all of your support along the way. It hasn't been easy. I know you've been pressured from all corners, And we stayed true to our message from the beginning about safety and as a priority. And here we are, we're ready to open our doors. Very excited next week. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Doyle. Thanks for all the work in getting, our schools open full time. I just think that's a huge milestone for us. So thank you. We will now have our educational services report by Ms. Tredick.
Well, good evening. And we are just truly excited about next week. And I just want to let everyone know, all staff know, that we are here for you and support you. And so let us know if we can do anything. And I'm looking forward to seeing just us doing what we do the best, and that is teaching our kids. So super excited about that. So I have several items to share this evening. The first being the textbook adoption process, because the board asked last month if we could kind of review that. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm hoping you'll just have to let me know, make sure it works. Do you see it? All right, thank you for that. So I just want to go briefly over the process of how we adopt textbooks. So it starts at the State Board of Education, where they have the constitutional authority and responsibility and obligation to adopt textbooks that match and meet the criteria for the frameworks and the California state or the Common Core state standards. And they evaluate the materials. They have criteria of which they measure the materials, and then they select instructional materials that meet their criteria. And then districts are notified of those state approved items. And usually these instructional materials are textbooks or digital materials, technology-based, and it's usually the basic pieces. It's nothing, they're not going to give us something that isn't something that we could pilot and purchase. So it starts with the California State Board of Education, and then it moves on to us. And we are looking at this timeline. The next two adoption areas to come up are math, and then again, language arts and ELD, English language development. So currently the state board is working on looking at the math frameworks, and they've started reviewing materials, and then they will officially have materials adopted so that we then would move on after their adoption in November of 23. So that is where we are in our next adoption. And then several years later, we'll follow with language arts, including English language development. The big idea of textbook adoption is that the process must be thoroughly planned by the district, conducted publicly, and well documented. And the whole process you must have evidence of substantial stakeholder involvement, including teachers and parents and community members, as you instruct or select your instructional materials. So the entire process must be very transparent, and all stakeholders have an opportunity to view and critique and analyze all of the materials. For our district, the process is we determine, based on the state board's approval, which materials we would like to pilot. And in order to do that, we have a set criteria that we develop, and then we prioritize it and figure out which materials we would like to pilot. The pilot can be any length of time depending on when we select it, but we consider the components, the timeline that we have, and we want to make sure that we have representative populations for the pilot. So you want people at all grade levels, and so that they can have input as far as whether the materials are appropriate or not for their grade levels. Once the pilot is complete, you have the recommendation of which materials are going to be brought to the superintendent. And so the recommendation is made, and then there's kind of a sunshining period where the community has 30 days to come and look at the materials and ask questions and analyze and critique information. And then we bring it to the board for a first reading and then a second reading, which would be the approval. So that is the process that we go through for textbooks. So we will be doing this in a couple of years with a math series. Before I go on that, does anyone have a question about textbook adoption?
When you have that 30-day grace period for the community to come, do you announce that, or how do you announce that?
We will announce it. We will announce it through the schools. We'll announce it from the district. And now that we have Parent Square, we'll be using that platform.
Oh,
so
good.
Parents will get it through every avenue that they currently receive messages through Parent Square.
Okay. And I think specifically our question last month was that maybe I don't know, just, the board hear about it. I mean, anyway, somehow include us in the, or just gentle reminders to us that, that it's happening and we need to come in and look at it if we'd like, just so that we know that that's going to be on the agenda. But I mean, 30 days would be great. If we had 2 months, that's great too. But, whatever.
Well, I will share the process with you as we go, because I just make sure that that's part of my.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Sure. Okay. Recently, as the board and district staff are aware, we have been working on our LCAP, and a substantial, really important piece of creating our LCAP is gathering stakeholder input. And so we've had several stakeholder meetings, and I just wanted to share some of the big idea highlights of the stakeholder survey data that we had. And this, board members, I can email this to you. I know I shared it with you already, and you have the more extensive version of this set of data, but for the public, I wanted to review the highlights here. So survey, what we did with stakeholders, we just looked at patterns, and we looked at the results from the parents, the staff, including classified and certificated, and the students. And there were many questions that were parallel. The top chart here is where they came from, what schools, what staff, how many staff members, and then also how many students. We had a record number of students participate, and I really appreciate the teachers posting the surveys in their Google Classrooms for kids to access that. Now, when we look at our new LCAP, we basically have 3 goals, and we basically have the 3 areas. You have academic achievement, academic supports or multi-tiered systems of support, and then we have the school safety idea. And so in the first area, when we talk about academic achievement, overall, we see that our students are very motivated to learn because they are on the right. Their pie chart is on the right. The little bar graph is from our TK through 2nd grade students, and one was a happy face. So our kids are very motivated to learn. We have very few that are actually saying they disagree or they strongly disagree with that. They care about their school as well. And we see a very similar pattern with the parents as well, that kids do care about their schools because we have the best schools. When we look at academic achievement and include a question with staff, this one was about how staff listen to students. And so what was so interesting for us to see was how the students view their teachers and staff members. And if you see the students on the far right, they overwhelmingly feel supported by teachers listening to them and staff listening to them. When we look at the academic support, so these are around goal 2 of our new LCAP. When we talk about clear expectations of what students should know and do and be able to perform, very similar for staff and students, and a similar pattern with parents as well. And then understanding the academic supports, which would be the 2nd row of pie charts, to ensure students are meeting their needs is pretty strong as well. Overwhelmingly agree or strongly agree. But I want to talk a little bit about the staff's response to academic supports. When we take the staff and we break it down into English learners and students with special needs, we see that we have some work to do as a staff because our staff doesn't feel that they have the tools, the resources, or the supports in order to help our English learners. And so that is an area that we will definitely consider. And I know our staff's intentions and heart are there, but we need to provide better supports and resources in that area. And as far as students with disabilities, a little bit stronger there, but still we can always improve and continue to work. And I appreciate the staff's honesty on this. So we know where we can direct our resources in the LCAP to support our staffs and then ultimately our students. When we look at safe school environment, overwhelmingly the staff is safe, students feel good. And what was really interesting to the stakeholder group was this second row of pie charts about bullying. Bullying doesn't appear to be a significant problem in our schools. So we see that most more than 75% disagree or strongly disagree that bullying is an issue at the schools, which is great to see. And our schools are working with conscious discipline, and we had our meeting today. I know that the family community or the school community that is created in a conscious discipline lens is going to continue to support any of these students who do feel that they're not supported or that they are experiencing any kind of other annoying behavior from other students or bullying. We did ask about communication as one more piece, and this was really looking at parents and their communication and participation. And so parents, for the most part, are very comfortable in our activities and feel like they are encouraged to be involved. And staff, there wasn't one strongly disagree for either one of those. So I feel our staff is doing an excellent job of reaching out and connecting with parents. Parents overwhelmingly like email, but I do want to bring your attention to the comments at the bottom because Parent Square is fairly new. We just started that a month or two ago, and we had several comments, multiple comments talking about the positive side of Parent Square. And then we have parents who love Zoom. So Zoom is a nice, convenient meeting platform for us. So that was it. Do you have any comments or questions about this data? And like I said, there's a more extensive version that I emailed to the board.
Kim, you mentioned on the one thing you highlighted just about, particularly with English learners and special education, just the need for the supports. Within the questionnaire, within there, all the information you gathered, are you able to pinpoint what support they need? In other words, is it more training? Is it just like books? I mean, what might, or just you being on hand? Like, what might that be?
So there are several things, and I've been working with teacher groups. We have EL lead teachers at each school site, and we've really been looking at data. The school leadership teams have been analyzing their data and coming to some, like looking at patterns and then kind of drawing the conclusions around like what are the implications related to that. I think that it's a combination of things. We currently just purchased Elevation. Elevation is a student data platform. So our teachers and principals can see and track and monitor progress of our English learners. Talked with teachers yesterday. They were saying that they wanted more materials to teach English language development. They think that for some EL levels, our current Nat Geo doesn't meet the needs of addressing English learners. We also just recently acquired or purchased Elevation Math for the middle school, which is a kind of a primer lesson on academic vocabulary related to math. So it's a combination of the supports and resources and materials. And then we need to also continue to support our teachers in understanding the needs of English learners and at different grade levels and at different levels. So it is going to be, you will see it as part of our LCAP actions. And then it's also going to be in our expanded learning plan, which is the additional plan related to extended learning services for students. So those will be coming up for you. There's one in May and then another one, of course, the LCAP in June, but great questions. It's a complex answer, but we're working together and we have a great group of educators who are committed to our students.
Good. Thanks, Kim.
Kim, all of the answers that we received from the kids and the parents and everything on this was for this year, right?
Yes.
Okay.
In our surveys, we did not, we didn't say anything about in distance learning or in regular. We left the questions a little bit open just about your school, but yes, this is in the context of the current year because these surveys were just sent out in March.
Well, I'm really glad to see that we're not seeing a lot of bullying or that we didn't see a lot of bullying because we weren't really in school. So
right.
That's a good thing.
Well, it is, I think, and just from being around in this district for 2.5 years, our school climate is very positive. And so I tend to think that this survey is pretty accurate as far as any bullying or any negative behaviors. So I know that our staff, our teachers, our classified and our principals are dedicated to creating a positive school culture. So I can see that matches. It would be interesting to find out the 7th graders. We haven't received their Healthy Kids survey data yet, but there's probably a question on there about cyberbullying. I wonder if that would return different results. So I can bring that next time to bring the Healthy Kids survey information so we can see if there is a difference in this virtual world.
Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions about survey? Because I still have more to present. All right, the fun stuff. This is actually great. Kind of a great relief because of the very challenging yet interesting year we've had. I want to give the board an update on the CASP, the California assessments, and their state assessments. And this has been kind of something that's been in limbo for months now. And before we go on though, Mr. Richards, just in your honor, I wanted to go over all of the acronyms because there are so many acronyms when we talk about state testing. And so we have the CAA, which is, we call it the CA, and it's the California Alternative Assessment, the CASP, which is the state testing assessment, like the whole program, the platform. The CAST is for science. The CDE, you know that one. ED is the United States Department of Education. LPAC, the test for English learners. LEA for our local education agency, which is us. The SARC, which is the School Accountability Report Card. The SBAC is actually the test, the ELA and math test within CASP. And then the State Board of Education is the final one. I think I captured all of the acronyms that I'm going to share in the next few slides. But if there's an acronym, I will be happy to explain it again or say it. Okay, so I want to just give you kind of a brief timeline of the last couple of months. So in February, which was a long awaited time, the State Board of Education directed the California Department of Ed to prepare a waiver regarding flexibilities. And they wanted the extension of the testing window to go to the middle of summer, just because of the fact that we weren't sure what school was going to look like back in February. They wanted a waiver for the science test. They wanted information or a policy about the information we gain from assessment data and how it was going to be communicated to community, parents, and the state. And then we wanted flexibility, or they wanted flexibility in the assessment. And so I want to explain a little bit more about that. So when we're talking about the flexibilities, in early March, they started looking at the different flexibilities, and what that included was they wanted to remove the requirement of the 75 or the 95% participation rate. So typically in a regular year, 95% or more of our students must participate in the CASP test. So they wanted that criteria just kind of waived for this year. They also, the state uses the data from the CASP to determine schools that are up for school improvement. And they wanted to remove that because they didn't feel it was the data that we receive from any testing we do, the validity of that is a question. So you should not be qualifying a school for improvement if you can't guarantee that the data is accurate. On March 16th, they approved the plans for the districts to use a viable option, and viable option is coming up in a couple more slides. And they included, as they listed, they said the SBAC, they can take the SBAC, or they can have another diagnostic, a benchmark, or an interim assessment. And so then moving on to April 6th, they did approve the waiver, and they decoupled, meaning they separated the assessment results from the requirement of school improvement and those types of things. They said that California did not need a waiver to approve not giving the SBAC. They said that all schools will continue to be responsible for administering a statewide exam, with the exception that it is not a viable option to administer the state test. The state test is a very complex online test. There's a secure browser. There are many complications that go with giving a remote exam. There's a lot of time wrapped up in state testing. And so districts were tasked with the responsibility to determine if the SBAC was going to be viable. If it was not viable, then they would need to have an alternative exam. So the CDE does not give you any criteria for viable. It's up to the districts to decide what is viable and what isn't. And what we do is we considered, and what we did was we considered the current mode of instruction. For the majority of the last year, we have been remote. And technology is not always created equal. And access, Wi-Fi and broadband access is not always created equally. The CASP platform, because of the remote situation that we have been in for the majority of the last year, our students have not had any practice or interaction with the CASP platform. Our teachers have not had training with the CASP platform. And then also, we cannot guarantee the administration of the assessment or the equity around the administration. As Ms. Beach said earlier, when we administered the iReady diagnostics for everyone while they were home, we don't know the conditions in which, was there a dog barking? Did the child not have good internet connection? And so there were things like that that we cannot ensure equity around those. So we have determined as a district that the SBAC is not not an assessment for us. It's not a viable option. When we talk about the criteria for choosing an assessment, there are 4 items that we must consider. So we need to make sure that it is aligned to the California Common Core state standards for English language arts and math. It has to be available for students in grades 3 through 8 and grade 11 if we were a high school district. It needs to be uniformly administered across a grade span, a school or a district, meaning that I can't take a test in one class if I teach 3rd grade and another 3rd grade teacher do a different assessment. It has to be uniformly administered across all grades. And we need to be able to disaggregate the results based on the standards, the ELA and math, and then also down to the individual level, the class level, the teacher level, school level, district level, just like we can. Actually, they're asking for more than we can with the SBAC. So, and also we need to be able to report out by student groups. So looking at our English learners, looking at our students with disabilities, looking at our different populations. So as a district, we are going to administer our iReady diagnostic. The iReady diagnostic does meet all 4 of the state board's criteria for an alternative assessment. It is aligned to standards. It is available to students in 3 through 8. It is already uniformly administered across the grade spans, and we can report out all of the different scores. We have the program Illuminate, which is a data manipulation system. So we will import the diagnostic scores from iReady, and then we can create any report, any subgroup, anything that we need that will be required to report to the state. We do not yet know what the state is going to be asking for. We just know that we will be able to create those lists in any way. And then our parents will also be getting an iReady report. We will be doing the diagnostic for kindergarten through 8th grade, but we will be particularly focused on the 3rd through 8th for the state reporting requirements. There are other assessments out there. There is something called the summative LPAC, which is a requirement for all English learners. There is no waiver for that. It must be administered to all English learners. And I am pretty sure we're probably like 98% complete with our summative LPAC for our English learners this year. Our EL aides and our teachers and our principals have done a pretty impressive job scheduling. They brought kids in. Our parents, thank you parents for arranging to bring your students in for the LPAC testing. So that is almost complete. And the science test and the California alternative tests, those are both available. But if we've determined that we cannot use the SBAC as a viable option, then we do not have to administer the science test or the California alternative assessment. We may choose to use the California alternative assessment. That is an in-person only assessment. And our students who do take the alternative assessment are on campus. So we will probably administer that to them. So because it's good information for us to see. And those students take that CA annually. So with Illuminate and iReady, they will work together. We will upload the iReady data into Illuminate. It will disaggregate by student groups. We'll be able to communicate to parents, and we will also be able to use it for our school accountability report card. And as soon as the CDE comes out with guidance on how it's going to be represented for public reporting, we will be able to generate that information by using Illuminate. So I think that's it for my presentations. Oh, no, it's not. I have one more item. But does anyone have any questions about state testing? It's exciting, I know. All right, last item for me. I do want to share with the board that we are very excited about this summer. We have some school programs coming up this summer, and it's a 4-week program from June 21st to July 16th. And this is the summer program that Jackie Vasquez usually is our administrator for, but we are expanding this year to create an even larger program. So we will continue to have the ESY for students per their IEP. We will have the Impact Summer Program, and that will be for invited students who have academic gaps or needs or just need a boost. So they will be invited, and we'll be sending invitations out to families real soon. And then we're going to have Jumpstart to Kindergarten. And this is a program that will be for current transitional kindergartners and our newly registered kindergartners. And all three programs, they're going to be a half day from 8:15 to 11:30 daily, Monday through Friday for the 4 weeks. So the first day is June 21st, and then we finish on July 16th. And we have no summer program on the 5th due to the holiday. Does anyone have any questions about ESY, the Summer Impact Program, or the Jump Start to Kindergarten? And just for you, I thought I could make acronyms for all three of those. So ESY, ISP, and J2K.
Thank you. Okay, I think last year the Jumpstart to Kindergarten, was that something that we charged for? Or was that, I can't remember, are we charging for that this year, or is it?
We are not charging this year.
Okay. And
these are
all
for our
in-person.
incoming students,
Okay.
our currently enrolled kindergartners. So anybody out there who's not enrolled in kindergarten, get enrolled in kindergarten, and then you'll be invited to Jumpstart. We will be using the Frog Street summer curriculum, which is what we used last year for the program. And I don't know, Ms. Vasquez supported the Jumpstart to Kindergarten last year with her preschool program. But I am not sure if I don't recall if we charged for, I don't believe we did.
I don't believe we charged for it. I believe it was virtual.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I must have mixed it up with something else then. I remember that being, how did you feel like that went last year, Jackie?
It was actually phenomenal. We were the first program to implement the summer program for Frog Street, and it went really, really well. Our CC team did a wonderful job in implementing the program, and we've been able to actually share our successes with other districts through Frog Street. I think, Mayreen, what you're thinking about is our summer program through CC, which we will be offering this year as well. And that will be for our incoming 4-year-olds and 3-year-olds. So all the families that have enrolled now, that information will be going out. So that will also be a program that will be offered. So I think that's what you were thinking.
I think you're right. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, Jackie started us with Frog Street, and now I'm drinking the Frog Street Kool-Aid for sure.
I love the Frog Street Kool-Aid. It's delicious.
It is.
Great. I'm like way into it. I want to talk to everybody about it.
It's the best, you guys. It really is.
Well, that is it for me. I think that was enough for me. But if anyone has any questions, be happy to answer anything.
Just a lot to digest.
Well, I can send you the slides if you'd like. That's why I put it on slides, because I don't think I could have possibly remembered all of it and have you remember it. So I'll share that with you.
That'd be great. Thank you. I mean, I was taking notes, but it's definitely a lot to digest. Are there any questions from any other board members? Okay. With that, then we will move on to the business services report. And Ms. Hodgson.
Can you see me? Good evening, everyone.
Sorry, it's like hard to find people on the screen. Okay.
There's too many of us.
Yeah.
Good evening. I actually want to give a shout out to all of the staff and everyone in Castaic for their creative and honest problem solving. I was in a meeting with some of my colleagues from another district. This was probably 3 weeks ago, as we were all grappling with what the next steps were. And one of them finally looked at me and he said, "Is there a problem that Castaic cannot solve, Lynette?" And I smiled and said, "No, actually there isn't." and it's not because Lynette solves it or the principals solve it or any one or two people solve it. It's because we have honest conversations and take ideas from everybody. I was just driving home this evening and one of the principals called and said, I just had a great idea after talking to one of my grade level teams. What about this? And it's like, that's how we've done it. And so it's the hard work, it's the dedication, it's the love of kids, but it's also the creative and honest problem solving that helps along the way. So I just have to give a shout out for that because it's up and down the district. I do want to give an update publicly about what's happening with food services. The meal preparation or meal delivery will happen normally at our 4 school sites. We will be serving breakfast and lunch starting Monday at our school sites. Any of the virtuals families will go to Castaic Middle School to pick up the grab and go lunches. So although we will still be offering it, they are only offering the grab and go at the middle school, and that's from 9 to 10. So I want everybody to know that it is still free of charge. The grab and go is free of charge for students, and the breakfast and lunch that's being served at the school sites is also free of charge because of all of the waivers. So I want to make sure everybody is aware of that. Even though it looks like we're moving back to normal lunches, it is all still covered under the waivers. So I wanted to make sure people understood that. Other than that, I am going to introduce Vanessa Woolley, who I think everybody knows. Vanessa's been here a couple times to report out for the Citizens Oversight Committee, and we really appreciate her doing this because it is an obligation that a community member, the community members look at and make sure that we're using the QS money appropriately for the construction projects, and that somebody reports out. I know she was only here a couple of months ago because we were behind because of the pandemic, but this report brings us all up to date. So Vanessa, thank you for being here, and I'm going to turn it over to you.
Sure. Hi, board. Good to see everybody. We're sharing screens now, so I don't see anybody anymore, but hi. Mine is going to be super fast, super short. So as a member of the Measure QS Citizens Oversight Committee, it is made up of representatives from across the community, all the stakeholders, and our job is to make sure that the facilities money that we voted on as a community in 2012 is actually used on facilities. Real quickly to speak to this chart, we had 2 members term out this past year, and Jim is staying on in an advisory capacity so that we can have a full committee of 7 people. So we need a couple more members. We have had an applicant, and we are hoping to have another couple to be able to present to the board in June. So that'll be coming up. So if you know of anybody that might be interested in serving on this committee, just send their information my way or to Jaime, and either of us can get you an application. Okay, so this, I wanted to highlight the fact that we reviewed the financial and the performance audits from June of last year. And so we reviewed that audit. There was one minor finding where something was allocated to the wrong school year, but it was fixed. Other than that, everything was easy peasy. Everything was in alignment. All funds have been properly spent on appropriate projects. We got the second issuance for the locker project, which you guys are intimately familiar with. And we are super excited about the new Live Oak modernization project that starts here in a few months. Let's see, what other highlights would we like to say? Yeah, everything is, we have found that the district is in compliance, that it is up to date, and we as a Citizens Oversight Committee are well pleased. Are there any questions from the board?
Thank you.
Just from actually the beginning, just kind of curious, when you say that that one member is termed out. How long are the terms and how many terms can someone serve?
Oh, let me see if I can remember. I believe they're 2-year terms, and you can serve three consecutively. Then you can take a break and come back if you want. So we can serve a maximum of 6 years.
Okay.
He is allowed to stay on as a non-voting member to help carry us through the rest of the year while we try to get back up. We need to have 7 members.
Okay.
And so we will hopefully have that to you in June.
And to reiterate, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, to make sure, but I believe, Vanessa, all of the different specific groups of representatives are represented. So we don't have any specific group we are limited to with members. So anyone who's interested, who lives in the community, could apply. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. Now, I am the only person that checks the box of PTA, PTO, or site council. So if there's anybody that's on a site council, PTA, PTO, so that I'm not the only one, so that if I'm not present, all stakeholders are still represented. That's a double bonus, but anybody, a taxpayer organization can be like an HOA. Yeah, that's the way in which I apply. And we did welcome Russell Briley is a new member. We did welcome him in our March meeting for the first time. So that's great to have some new blood coming in.
And I'm sorry if you already mentioned this. Did you guys say where to apply or where to call or how do they?
You can email Jaime Garcia for the application. You can email me for the application.
Okay. Or
And
they
then
can
I
call the
believe
district office and get the information that they need if they needed to. Okay.
Jaime Garcia. And the applications are due by June 4th.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you, Vanessa.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I think that's other than, just ready for Monday to be here. We've had how many first days? So ready for this final first day of this school year.
It was crazy when the kids came back. Just how new and clean their shoes and their backpacks were.
I always like first day shopping.
So anyway, all right. So that's it.
That's it for business services.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from any board members?
Nope.
Okay, well, thank you. We'll move on then to the regular consent calendar. Unless a trustee has a question concerning a particular item and asks that it be withdrawn from the consent calendar, the consent items are approved with a single motion by the Board of Trustees. I entertain a motion to approve the regular consent calendar.
I'll move.
Okay, motion by Mr. Malcolm.
Second.
Second by Mr. Richard. And we'll now vote. Ms. Maxon?
Aye.
Mr. Malcolm?
Aye.
Mr. Richards?
Aye.
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
And an aye by myself, Ms. Burke. Motion passes. We'll now move on to the action items. Action item number 1 is adoption of resolution 20/21-16, California Day of the Teacher, May 12th, 2021. I entertain a motion to approve this item.
I'll make a motion. Oh, sorry, Laura.
I'll second.
Okay, so motion by Ms. Maxon, second by Ms. Pearson. And are there any, did you need to present anything, Mr. Doyle, for this? Okay. Well, we're excited to be able to celebrate California Day of the Teacher. I think they all deserve it. It's been a tough year. So we will, and actually every year they deserve it. So we will now vote on that. A roll call vote. Ms. Maxon?
Aye.
Mr. Malcolm?
Aye.
Mr. Richards?
Aye.
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
And an aye by myself, Mrs. Burke. Motion passes. Action item number 2, adoption of resolution number 20/21-17, classified school employees week, May 16th through May 22nd of 2021. I entertain a motion to approve this item.
I'll move.
Motion by Mr. Richard.
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Maxon. Are there any, Mr. Doyle, did you have anything to present for this?
Well, later we'll talk about the appreciation luncheon schedules. So
Okay, that's great. And we appreciate all that they do as well. As, you know, this last year and every year. So thank you. Okay, so now we will vote. Ms. Maxon?
Aye.
Mr. Malcolm?
Aye.
Mr. Richards?
Aye.
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
And an aye by myself, Ms. Burke. Motion passes. Item number 4, approval of 2021 to 2022 special education local plan area, or also called SELPA, local plan section B, governance and administration. That is a mouthful.
you missed number 3, Mrs. Burke.
Oh, I'm sorry. You know, I went through and highlighted and I didn't have that highlighted. I apologize. Okay, item number 3, California School Board Association CSBA Delegate Assembly Runoff Election, Region 22. We need to vote on the members. So I
How do we make a motion?
Okay.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Richard.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Malcolm. And I know there's a discussion. We probably need to discuss this.
Yeah, you put in a little bit of a pickle since you have 2 Santa Clarita board members that are vying for the same seat. So I don't envy your choice. I think both of them are excellent candidates. We probably have known Chris a little longer than we've known Ernesto, but happy to hear the board weigh in, and we'll submit the vote on your behalf.
And Chris he has more experience.
So Laura, are you
nominating
or
Chris?
Is that this is such an odd action item because we did a motion to talk about it, and then but we really need to vote on it. So does Laura, should just Laura make a motion to that our vote will be Chris Trunke?
Laura, do you want to make that motion?
Sure.
Okay.
We nominate.
I'd like to move to nominate Chris Trunke for this position.
Or, I mean, I guess we're not really nominating, we're voting for him, right? This is our vote.
We're voting for him, okay.
So you're moving to that our vote will be Chris Trunke. Okay, Is there a second? Am I allowed to second?
You are.
Yeah.
Okay, motion by Ms. Pearson, second by Ms. Burke. And we will now vote. Ms. Maxon?
I don't really know them very well, but I will vote with yes, aye.
Okay. Mr. Malcolm?
Aye.
Mr. Richard?
Aye.
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
And an aye by myself, Maureen Burke. Motion passes. Okay, now we can move on to number 4, approval of 2021-2022 special education local plan area, or SELPA, local plan section B, governance and administration. I entertain a motion.
I'll move.
Okay, motion by Ms. Pearson.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Malcolm. Discussion?
So a little background on this. Every 3 years, the SELPA has to update their SELPA plan that serves all of our students with special needs across the Santa Clarita Valley. In the past, it has always just been brought to the Superintendent's Council for approval. As we dove into our board policies, our policy required, I think us and Newhall's policy required that it is brought to the board for approval before we can grant, then I could grant approval to the SELPA. So CDE is changing the language, and I think CSBA will follow, that would allow districts to have their superintendent representative approve the plan, and it wouldn't necessarily need to come to you in the future. But it's here for your presentation. It's just how we're serving all of our kids, our students with special needs across the valley. So it's kind of a formality in a sense.
Okay. Are there any questions from board members? Okay, we'll have a roll call vote then. Ms. Maxon?
Aye.
Mr. Malcolm?
Aye.
Mr. Richards?
Aye.
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
And an aye by myself. Motion passes. Item number 5, approval of agreement for legal services in the year 2021 to 2022 school year from Fagan, Friedman, and Fullfrost LLP. I entertain a motion to approve this item.
I'll move.
Motion by Ms. Pearson,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Richards. Any discussion?
I just want to thank the board for allowing us to have multiple firms at our assistance as needed. You know, I've been working for a district before where the board was real content on having one attorney. I think using, you know, we use Lozano Smith for a lot of our facilities work. We use Fagan, Friedman, and Fullfrost for a lot of our special ed work and some personnel stuff. And then we use Maggie Chidester. It's just nice to have a wealth of resources when you have sticky situations. So, and again, these are all rates billed on actual work. They're not retainer type contracts. So it's kind of an annual one, but I just wanted to share that I do appreciate us having that flexibility.
Thank you. Is there any discussion or questions by members of the board? Okay, we will now have a roll call vote. Ms. Maxon?
Aye.
Mr. Malcolm?
Aye.
Mr. Richards?
Aye.
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
And an aye by myself. Motion passes. Item number 6, approval of No Red Ink 2021 to 2023 quote. I entertain a motion to approve this item.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Ms. Maxon,
Second.
second by Mr. Richards. Are there any questions or discussion?
It's a really great program. I saw it last year before I left and before we left the school sites. It'll really be a great asset to our middle school kids. Really neat.
Yeah, I remember on a tour hearing them talk about it. And anyway, it was it's nice that there's that resource. So I'm glad that we can do that. Okay, so we'll have, if there's no questions, we will now have a roll call vote. Ms. Maxon?
Aye.
Mr. Malcolm?
Aye.
Mr. Richards?
Aye.
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
And an aye by myself. Motion passes. Item number 7, approval of increase to proposal from quality bidders. I entertain a motion to approve this item.
I'll move.
Motion by Mr. Malcolm,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Pearson. Any questions or discussion? Okay, we'll now have a roll call vote. Ms. Maxon?
Aye.
Mr. Malcolm?
Aye.
Mr. Richards?
Aye.
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
And an aye by myself. Motion passes. Number 8, approval of smartboard installation at Live Oak Elementary School. I entertain a motion to approve this item.
I'll move.
Okay, motion by Mr. Richards,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Maxon. Any questions or discussion? I just think it's exciting that we're gearing up for our improvement at the school. It's just really exciting. So,
and this is part of the whole project. It doesn't have to go through the DSA. So that's why it's not part of the lease back. It's separate, but it is part of the whole picture.
that's great. Totally excited. So are there any questions or discussion? Okay, if not, then we will have our roll call vote. Ms. Maxon?
Aye.
Mr. Malcolm?
Aye.
Mr. Richards?
Aye.
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
Then aye by myself. Motion passes. Item number 9, approval of the increase for Avcon Incorporated. I entertain a motion to approve this item.
I'll move.
Motion by Ms. Pearson,
Second.
second by Mr. Richards. Any questions or discussion?
I do want to just point out that Brian Hayes, the inspector of record, is the person that is there representing the district and making sure of the quality of the project. So that is very important, and he's been an amazing resource for us through all of this. He thought he was signing on for 6 months, and here we are. And I understand that there is light at the end of the tunnel. I understand that there literally are lights that turn on.
Well, and to see the date, May 2021.
I wasn't going to
like,
say that. I am going to say that there are lights, but I'm
okay, I shouldn't have said it. You shouldn't have written it.
Well, it can be May 1st or May 31st, right? I mean, it's just May,
right.
So maybe.
Right. It could be right. Exactly. So.
Well, at least there's lights on now. That's great.
Right.
So, all right. If there aren't any questions or discussion, then we will have a roll call vote. Ms. Maxon?
Aye.
Mr. Malcolm?
Aye.
Mr. Richards?
Aye.
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
And aye by myself. Motion passes. Item number 10, first reading to adopt revised board policy and administrative regulation 3230, federal grant funds. I entertain a motion to approve this item.
I'll move.
Motion by Ms. Pearson.
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Maxon. Any questions or discussion? Okay, then we will have a roll call vote. Ms. Maxon?
Aye.
Mr. Malcolm?
Aye.
Mr. Richards?
Aye.
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
And an aye by myself. Motion passes. Item number 11, first reading to delete old board policy and administrative regulation and adopt new board policy and administrative regulation 5113.2, work permits. I entertain a motion to approve this item.
I'll move.
Motion by Ms. Pearson.
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Maxon. Any questions? Discussion? Okay, and we will have a roll call vote. Ms. Maxon?
Aye.
Mr. Malcolm?
Aye.
Mr. Richards?
Aye.
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
And an aye by myself. Motion passes. Item number 12, first reading to adopt revised board policy and administrative regulation 5141.31, immunizations. I entertain a motion to approve this item.
I'll move.
I was waiting for you, Laura. The nurse. Okay, motion by Ms. Pearson.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Malcolm. Any questions or discussion? All right.
Just real quick, Steve, or who, I'm not sure. I was reading through all this. I know there's a lot of red ink and all the stuff and different lines across that and everything. What's the main difference, if you could kind of surmise from what we've had before?
It's the medical exemption piece, and then the 7th grade criteria as well. There's the 2 new laws, SB 276 and 714, that came into place. So then CSB just went and aligned the new law language and put it in the policy. So it's updating it.
Okay.
Okay. If there's no other questions or discussion, then we will have our roll call vote. Ms. Maxon?
Aye.
Mr. Malcolm?
Aye.
Mr. Richards?
Aye.
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
And an aye by myself. Motion passes. Item number 13, first reading to adopt revised board policy 6170.1, transitional kindergarten. I entertain a motion to approve this item.
I'll move.
Motion by Ms. Pearson.
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Maxon. Any questions or discussion? Okay, Seeing none, then we will have a roll call vote. Although I would like to see transitional kindergarten just opened up to all kids at that 1 year. I just kind of think it's weird that we isolate just those months. And if you're born in that month, you get free preschool. If not, you don't. It's just a little funny to me, but all right. Then
Well, it is a little bit it's higher step than preschool, though.
I know. I know. I mean, essentially it's getting kids ready for kindergarten. And I think that it basically, anyway, but yes. Yeah. And since that's the case, then it's interesting that it's only open to a few, kids born in a few months. I know that it did mention there, that if there's room, more kids could be, but anyway, I just think it's funny.
All about state funding.
I know. All right. If there's no questions or other from other board members, then we will just go ahead and have a roll call vote. Ms. Maxon?
Aye.
Mr. Malcolm?
Aye.
Mr. Richards?
Aye.
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
And an aye by myself. Motion passes. Item number 14, first reading to delete old board policy and adopt new board policy 7210, facilities financing. I entertain a motion to approve this item.
I'll move.
And I'll second.
Okay, motion by Mr. Richards, I guess second by Mr. Malcolm. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Any questions or discussions about this? Okay, seeing none, we'll go ahead and have our roll call vote. Ms. Maxon?
Aye.
Mr. Malcolm?
Aye.
Mr. Richards?
Aye.
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
And an aye by myself. Motion passes. We will now move on to the reports and information section of the meeting. The Williams settlement legislation third quarter report. Mr. Doyle, do you report on this? Or
well,
who?
there are no complaints filed during the third quarter. So
okay. All right, then discussion item or reports. I'm sorry, report item number 2. How do I just read the title of this one, or does someone, is this someone just presenting this to us?
no, you can just read the title. It's just for the
Okay.
public to see what CSEA has proposed and what the district has proposed on those 2 items.
All right, so the CUSD Board of Trustees was presented with a 2020-20 or year 2021 reopener to California School Employees Association, also known as CSEA, and therefore they've sunshined their proposal at public meeting. So this is their sunshine proposal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we don't need to read it or anything.
It's just for
'cause
information for the
it's in the
public.
agenda.
Yeah,
attached to the
it's so the
agenda.
public sees. And this one in particular, the first one is our proposal to CSEA. It's the district's proposal, is the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I know it's confusing. The next one is what CSEA presented to us.
Okay, thank you. And so then the next one is that we are announcing the receipt of the year 2020 to 2021 initial proposal from the California School Employees Association. So is there anything else that needs to be said? Okay. We will now move on to the discussion portion of the meeting. Item number 1, Mr. Doyle, I'll let you. It's spring staff appreciation lunches in May. It was kind of like exciting to see this on there. So what do you have planned?
Well, first of all, with your action earlier tonight, we've recognized the Day of the Teacher and the week for the classified staff, and we've acknowledged administrators, I think last month, right? So we're excited. One of the traditions I brought to Castaic was been in the spring in honor of celebrating all of our amazing employees. We have always brought a taco cart on a certain day to the school site and allowed for yummy tacos and rice and beans for all the staff and feed them lunch. Well, to be mindful of the health protocols, we couldn't necessarily have the taco cart, but I got to give kudos to Charmin and Erica. They found a lady that will do a taco box. So you'll get 3 tacos, either beef, chicken, or veggie, rice and beans, And then we've also have a churro contractor that's going to provide individual churros. So the attachment has the dates for May 5th. It will be at the district office for all of the district office employees, including our bus drivers and all the district office level people. Also on May 5th, those will be delivered to Castaic Elementary School. I think unlike the past, we probably shouldn't go and visit and intermingle because of COVID, but those will be distributed on those days. May 6th, the middle school, May 7th, North Lake, and May 12th, Live Oak. So that's an exciting opportunity for the end of the year. So I want to thank Sharman and Erica for all the negotiations and planning to make that happen. And we invite you as a board to come join us at the district office on our designated day on May 5th.
I think I'm gonna look for a margarita vendor to go with those tacos. That would be very much appreciated.
Yeah, is that the same churro vendor that you've used, Sharman?
Yes, that's Nathan, and he's at the Fresh Churro Bar. He's been here at the district
Amazing.
before.
Yeah.
And we sent boxes over previously. So this time, though, he's going to actually individually wrap them. And every employee, staff member will get their individual churro and either a chocolate sauce to dip it in or the dulce de leche. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. And honestly, this was really all Erica. So yeah, she worked really hard to pull this all together.
Thank you. Thank you. No, those are all really nice. I know I've had those churros and I've ordered them myself for a party I had prior to the pandemic starting. So it's been a long time since I've had those churros.
And we'll be sending the invitations to the office managers to send out to their staff next week. So they can get that. It's a cute little invitation that Erica created. So
thank you for organizing that. And thank you to Erica.
Welcome. You're very welcome.
Okay, so the next, is there anything else in that discussion item, Mr. Doyle?
Nope, that's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Then discussion item number 2, the board member participation in safety protocol video. We were invited by, so you know, there's a Santa Clarita Valley Trustees Association that all members of every Trustees Association in the Valley are invited to attend this. And so we meet quarterly, I think, or a few times a year. And some members thought that it might be nice to create a safety protocol video that a member of each board of trustees from each district and COC would be involved and maybe say a line in this little video. So I know that, anyway, were there any questions? I guess we just need to discuss it as a board. I know that there had been some questions and I sent the answers. So do I need to read this or just, I don't want to spend a lot of time, but.
You know what, Maureen, a couple of questions that I have, this little video, where is this little video going? How are they going to get it out?
Okay. Yeah, that was in the thing. So each district will be able to put it out on their own social media platforms, and the Hart District will put it out on YouTube. Mr. Caldwell, who's part of the Hart District, he's going to organize putting the video out on KHTS and the Signal. And so that's their plan. So we would each obviously get a copy of it and we could distribute it, through our own channels. And then also it will be put in community type channels as well. Just the members that thought of this just thought it might be nice to just, first of all, collaborate and just to help, remind families that we've worked really hard to get kids back into school and that we want to keep it that way. So they just thought it might be nice to create a video of just members of their own community, basically, members of each board of trustees to put together this little video. That's all. So I guess we just need to decide if we want to participate, and we would need one of us to be the one to be on the video. So I think it's a nice opportunity to collaborate with the other districts. I don't want to be the only one that isn't in it. I've kind of, gone back and forth because I know we obviously could do something like this on our own, but I have thought about it, and I don't know that I want to be the only
Okay,
district
baby.
not doing it. So anyway, so
Oh,
Lynette, mute.
I don't think so.
Lynette, you're not muted. There you go.
okay, so I guess we just need to decide if we're going to participate and then who will do it. So I'm inclined to participate, and I kind of want to nominate Janine to be in it because she's just like just like everybody knows you and loves you, and you're just such a kind, wonderful person that everyone will listen to what you say.
Oh, you're so funny. Well, I read a line that's in that script, right? I don't mind if there isn't anyone else who wants to do that.
Yeah, they would have a line for you and you would read it. I think we get to decide which one we want, and just let them know which one we would like to have said by a member of our board. And so that's kind of it. So I guess we just need a blessing from everyone. Is it okay? Are you guys okay participating? Are there any strong objections? If not, then we'll just go ahead and move forward, and I will connect Janine to the
Well, unless there's someone who, if we go forward, if there's someone else who wants to do it, that's totally, I'm new kid on the block, so.
Maureen, do you know if the board members and me will get a chance to review it before it goes out public?
Because
I can ask that question, but that's actually a very good question. I will find out. We should be able to do that. So I will, I'll ask that question. So as long as we're able to review it before it goes out, then I guess we're okay participating then. And was there anyone that really strongly wanted to be on this video? If not, then I'm just gonna strong arm Janine into doing it. So we're good.
I like the idea of doing it, and especially as a group. I would have preferred that we work on something like this ourselves for our community, because if we're reaching out to our community, like, I don't know that I'm going to have an impact or Janine's going to have an impact on somebody in Sulphur Springs. But I guess without knowing like the script and what they're going to say and all that kind of stuff, it makes it hard, but I don't have a problem.
I believe those things were sent out. I sent them out in the emails. There were some scripts on there. So that's basically what it would be.
I think we can still do our own. And
we
in
could.
addition to this.
Yeah.
I think we can do it in addition to this, because we'll put our own community Castaic friendly spin on it for our peeps. I think what is cool about this is that all the boards, it's showing kind of unity that, we all are in this together kind of thing, and how we appreciate everybody, and a reminder, just an additional reminder. I know parents and staff are getting reminders, but just an additional reminder. But I do think, Laura, I agree. I'd love to do like that big thank you we did at the beginning. I think
that Laura organized. That was nice.
Job doing our own personalized one. This is kind of, I believe, kind of a generic, I think the script just basically said, we finally have kids back, staffs are safe, we have our vaccines, and a reminder of the protocols, 6 feet, wear your mask, that kind of thing. But I think we can do a really bomb awesome one on our own too.
And I would agree with that, because the last thing that I want to do is I'm going to call it preach to our community, or it even be edited in such a way that it appears that, and that would be the last thing that that I would want to do, especially after everything that our community has gone through, regardless of whether it's Castaic or Santa Clarita Valley. And I think our communities have heard enough of that over the course of the last year and a half. And the last thing that they need is us preaching to them.
Yeah, I think this unity thing is just a real quick commercially thing.
Yeah, and we did talk about that. And I kind of asked, I said, is there a way we can kind of bring humor, or just without making light of it, but try to, keep it, without being too preachy. So So basically, we can participate. It's very minimal work for us. It's literally just having Janine read her line. We don't have to edit it. We don't have to do any of that. So it's not going to create like extra work for us. And so then we can still do our own.
Let's do.
Okay. All right. So if no one else is just, jumping to do this, then if we could get Janine to do it, then sorry, Janine.
Will you wear your donut hat, Janine, from yesterday's reading?
Yeah.
Or Elf on a
I'll
Shelf.
save that
There's
for
so
our
many
own
things.
community.
Okay. All right. Then we'll just leave that there then, and move forward. Okay. So are there any other future agenda items that board members would like to put on the agenda for a future date? Okay. Then we don't need to return to closed session, so we can now adjourn the meeting. So we
I'll make a motion,
Okay.
Maureen, to end
okay.
the meeting.
Motion by Mr. Richard,
Okay.
second by Ms. Pearson, and now we'll have a roll call vote.
Aye.
Ms. Maxon, Mr.
aye.
Malcolm,
Aye.
Mr. Richards,
Aye.
Ms. Pearson.
Amen. Aye.
I'm just trying to ignore like the cute little puppy dog over there. And an aye by myself. Motion passes. We adjourn the meeting at 8:05 p.m. And
Happy belated birthday to Mr. Malcolm yesterday.
Yeah, happy birthday.
And
21 again.
that's awesome.